Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make this hexagonal fold card. You can make it this way, where it's got the cuts on both sides. The only snag with this one is it doesn't really stand up. You would have to sort of lean it against something, but the effects are the same. Or there is this one where we take the pieces that are cut out and add them back to the bottom, so it gives it more of a stand-upable base. Of course, it's always hard to show that in a 2D video, but this is the version that we're going to make today. So without further delay, let me pop that one off to one side and I will show you how we make it. So the ingredients are pretty simple actually. We just need a piece of 12-inch designer series paper, and this one I took out of this delightfully floral pack of paper. And it's the full 12 inches across, and it's 5 1/4 inches deep, and it's scored at 2, 4, 8 and 10. Don't do anything with 6 because that's going to be the middle of the card. So 2, 4, 8 and 10. And then it needs a piece of cardstock. This is Pool Party, and it's cut at the quarter size, the size that would fit into a regular envelope, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then we need a little piece for the inside, which is 3 by 3 1/4, and then 2 pieces. Doesn't really matter what size they are. We are going to be cutting two Pool Party hexagons and one white one using the new Hexagon Punch. So without further delay, let me get started with the assembling. So we'll fold it inwards on the score mark that is at 4 and the one that is at 8, so the two inside measurements. What we then need to do is we need to cut the corners off. If you have directional designer series paper, you have to remember that we're cutting it from the top, and we're going to measure down 2 inches. So I'm just going to line it up on my grid paper at 2 inches and put a little pencil mark there, and then I'll have to remember to turn it over and go from 2 to the 0, as long as you've got 2 cut marks down from the top 2 inches. Then I'll bring in the paper trimmer, and what we're going to do is we are going to cut from where we folded it, the inside score line, down to that 2-inch mark. So we'll line the little 2-inch mark in the cutting trough. We'll line the score mark up in the cutting trough, and then we'll just slice that piece off. But we need to hang on to this because we're going to use it. And then we'll do the same on the other side. We'll cut from the score line down to where we marked the little 2 inches, just lightly with a pencil mark. Hold that in place. Cut that off, and now we've got the makings of the diagonal. Actually, we're going to fold it the other way. No, we're not. We're going to do it this way. I'm lying. Then what we need to do is fold back this piece and fold back this piece, and then we just need to make sure that they meet in the middle before we commit them with the paper folder. Bone folder, because we want to get them as close as we can without overlapping. So this is how it opens, this is how it looks, and then we're going to bring in the pieces, and where we had the 2 score marks from the edge to 2 to 4, we're actually going to cut off the tippy part of the triangle along that score line. So I'll just bring in my snips. You could do it on your paper cutter too if you wanted to, and cut that off. And that is going to stick down here. And then we'll do the same. We'll cut it along the score line. It's the little triangle piece that we don't need. Whoops. And this will go here. So we can actually just go ahead and attach those quickly. So what we'll do is we'll line them up with the bottom and the edge. And likewise over at this side, we will line it up with the bottom and the edge equally. And then when we fold it in, we've got the same look. So whatever the opposite side of your designer series paper is, this just happens to be a plain one, you will get the contrasting pattern. And then what we need to do is stick the whole thing onto the quarter sheet of cardstock to sort of hold it steady. So put some adhesive around, and you remember we cut it to 5 1/4, which is the 1/4 inch less for layering. Oops. So we'll pop that on just like that. And then we'll pop the inside in. And like I said, it's 3 by 3 1/4. The 3 part is what goes across. It's 3 1/4 inches tall. So there's just a little trick to that. What we don't want to do is be able to see it. So as long as it's beneath where this, because if you had it up here when you close the card, you would be able to see it. So we just need to bring it down and center it between the 2 folded edges and press it in. Then we just need to bring in our hexagon punch and punch a nice white one. And then we just need to punch 2 in the pool party. And the reason we're punching 2 is we're going to make a layer, and because it's only one size, we will cut it in half, and I'll show you why we've cut 2. So we'll just go ahead and line this up in the paper trimmer. It doesn't have to be an exact half. It is 2 inches, so you can line it up at the 1 inch if you wanted to get it spot on. So we've got 2 halves, and we'll go ahead and stamp something with the pretty peacock. And I'm actually using the Hello Friend, which was one of the greetings from the December paper pumpkin. Hoping you've all got that one, but of course you can put any greeting on because we're not particularly using it with a stamp set. And what I'm going to do next is bring in, this was a circle sponge, and what I did was I cut it into quarters, so I've got a flat edge, and I'm just going to dip it into the ink and pull it down. And because it's a flat edge, you get a little bit more control and a little bit more intensity of the ink without it squidging too far into the greeting. So that's actually all of the stamping taken care of. And then what we'll do is we will put adhesive on the back and layer these onto the piece that we cut. And because we cut it in half, we're able to expand it a little bit. So you get a little bit of the edging. And quite often that's what we would put down on the card and nobody would see what's going to happen. However, we're going to attach this to the front of the card and it's going to open, and then you can see, oh, there's a gap. So what we'll do is we will just put sticky on the back of here and attach that in place. So although you can see there are 2 layers, it's a little bit more disguised than the big white gap in the back. And then as always, using our trusty ZZ fold technique, we'll put it in place, and we know we can only put the ink on the first half, otherwise the sticky, otherwise you would stick yourself down. So we'll flip it over, line, well, not really points, the curved edges of the hexagon, and then we know we can only put adhesive as far as this fold line, and then when we flip it over and stick it down, it's still able to open. There's no adhesive here, and like I say, although you can see it's 2 layers, it looks a little bit prettier than the white gash part. So that's it, actually. That's the card made. It will open and stand. There's plenty space inside, coordinating to write a greeting to whoever your lucky recipient is, whoever your friend is. Last but not least, we'll stick some of these lovely iridescent rhinestones on. I love a bit of bling. So we'll put one on the top. And then the interesting thing with these is there are 3 different sizes. So we'll just put one of each size on, and it just gives it a little bit extra. And the nice thing about the iridescent is it sort of picks up the colour that's behind and just gives it a nice finish. So there you have it, 2 of the same. And I'll just bring in the other one just for show. This one was the double hexagon. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. If you've liked it, please give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them in the description box below. I will have the measurements and all the dimensions and the instructions down below too. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.